Hello, and welcome back to Anime-chan. Today I have some very sad news, but I also want to look at the bright side once I've shared it with you. And I also want to explain the bad news to you. So the bad news is that I actually lost my episode 11 reaction. So I was watching episode 11 of Dororo and the electricity went off, so the file didn't save. It went off about more than halfway through the episode. So I haven't seen the end because the electricity went off, like there was nothing. And yeah, so I don't have that. But I'm about to watch the end of the episode, share those reaction highlights with you, and then do a short review. Well, not a short review, a regular review as I usually do. But if some of you don't know, I'm from South Africa, and our country is currently experiencing load shedding. Load shedding, I'm going to read this, is load shedding is aimed at removing load from the power system when there's an imbalance between the electricity available and the demand for electricity. So the company that manages our electricity generation, they are screwing up. They're not doing their job properly. There's so much corruption and there's just a lot of shit going on in South Africa. The world has one image of who we are and who we were as a country. But things have changed a lot, and I don't think necessarily have changed for the better. Some things, of course, are better, but the management and the hands in which South Africa now finds itself, not great. So I'm sorry that you are only getting a lot less reaction time than you would usually get, but at least I can watch the end of the episode with you, and yeah, I'll share my thoughts at the end.
Aniki.
Aniki. Oh, it's a demon, so it's not just ghouls, it's a demon. Okay.
年の頃は私と同じか少し上だがさてちょっとお題若どうなさるおつもりですお前たちの報告に父上はひどく驚かれたと言ったな思い当たる節があるのだ父上と母上の隠されているもの16年前に消えた赤子の行方私の知らない何かの答えをおいそこの女若そのものはまた大悟を滅ぼしに戻ってきた
Maybe he's going to be saved by Tahomaru.
そこで何をしている
スケロク
What? Wait, is it them? Oh, fuck, it's Daigo!
鬼の子とは一体何だ答えろ若そのようなもののたわごとは
鬼のたたりじゃ鬼が赤子を食ろうたんじゃ手も足も鼻も口も全部大悟の国にたたりを返しに帰ってきたんじゃ
まずいね
I did not expect them to meet this soon. Oh my god, why? I'm just gonna have to share the thoughts that I remembered sharing yesterday while I was watching this episode, but next week I think is when things are really gonna be concluded, and that's when I think the real thoughts are gonna come out, the real story. Whoa, first of all, I want to say I did not expect Daigo and Hyakimaru to meet this soon. This is episode 11 out of, I don't know, I heard there was going to be like 40 episodes or something. Or maybe 24? 24 episodes. Okay, so I had it wrong, not like 40 episodes. Okay, so we're halfway through the anime. Okay, so he met his dad now. But it's still, I didn't expect that to happen now, I guess. I maybe expected it to happen around, I don't know, episode 16, 17. I like that it took me by surprise though. But let's talk about the episodes and some thoughts that came up for me throughout the episode. The first thing that I wanted to mention was that in my last reaction, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a few people in the comments seem to feel like they needed to fiercely defend Tahomaru, as if I had said he was a bad person or an evil person or whatever. And I just wanted to make it clear that I never said he was a bad person. I never equaled him with his father. I just feel like people are a little bit oversensitive sometimes, and all I meant was, and I still stand by it, I think he's a spoiled brat, and I think he still has a lot of growing up to do. Does that mean I don't like him as a character? No. Does that mean I think he's an evil character? No. I know from personal experience that as an only child, you have certain personality traits. You can be a bit bratty, and I still see him that way. He's 14 years old. He's allowed to be a brat. He's allowed to be immature, you know? And he does still have a lot of growing up to do. That is natural. I wasn't hating on him or anything like that. I was just making an observation, and just like any child has growing up to do, he has growing up to do, and he needs to learn the truth from his father or of his father. He needs to learn the truth of his mother and of their land and why their land is so blessed. He just needs to learn the truth, and that may change him for the better, that may change him for the worse, but as things stand, he will never just remain the same. He is supposed to grow as a character. That's what all characters essentially should go through. It's very rare that a child is, if you look at Dororo, the suffering that she went through, that is why she's a character that we relate to and love. You can't look at her in a negative way because of the hardship that she's had to endure and the kind of person that she's become despite those hardships. So obviously she's not the same kind of child. You can't see her in the same light that you see a child like Tahomaru, who was raised as an only child that got everything he wanted, everything he needed. He was spoiled, and that's, like I say, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying he's evil. Being spoiled doesn't make you evil, but he's still a kid, and he's allowed to be. He's 14 years old. That's my point. And he did like, there were people saying, oh, how he acted wasn't immature, da 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 da. No, he was acting immature. He was 14 years old. He said it himself in, I think it was this episode, that he did make a rash decision. He did underestimate that monster. And if he was 18, 19, 20, if he was a bit more mature, he might have handled the situation differently. He has a lot of growing up to do, and that's fine. I'm looking forward to his personal development as a character. And yeah, he's 14 years old. He's allowed to be those things, but that doesn't mean I can't say, oh yeah, I see, he's still very immature. He is a spoiled brat. Compared to Dororo, she's also a child. She's not a spoiled brat. And that's why I feel like I'm allowed, as a reactor, I'm allowed to share my opinion and say, well, I think he's a spoiled brat. I'm looking forward to the next few episodes to see how finding out the truth about his family and his history and Hyakimaru. I'm looking forward to see how that changes him. It could change him for the better. It could change him for the worse. We don't know yet. Apparently, according to the original manga or the original anime, Tahomaru wasn't a very likable character, especially compared to this anime right now. I mean, I like a lot of the changes that they're making. I read your comments and you compare past episodes to new episodes and how it's different. And so far, I don't feel the need to watch the old anime or read the manga because I'm so happy with this interpretation. But to be honest with you, I don't see how Tahomaru as a character was raised by Daigo and an emotionally unavailable mother. But it's not like he didn't have love. He was loved and adored by all his people. He was loved and adored by his father. He obviously got everything he wanted. He was trained and educated, and he was, I don't know, when I say trained, I mean like trained to hunt and trained to fight, and his two companions did everything he wanted for him. He was raised a very spoiled person, and that's why, I don't know, I just feel like in this interpretation, they're making him too nice. It would have been more realistic if Tahomaru had grown up to be more like his father, especially since they emphasize how much he idolizes his father. So I just feel like it just would have been a better reflection, a truer character for me if because of how much he idolized his father, and because of his upbringing, I just didn't imagine him to be this nice, sweet looking, sincere, let's save my people kind of person. I actually would have loved if he was this really bad character that has to go through realizing what his father did and the truth behind his mother and his father's secret. And I wish that had made him the person that he is now. Like, I wish he had grown maybe to be more understanding, more just, if that's the right word. Right now I feel like he's just as a kid, yes, but he's actually so nice and stuff. I don't see that they can do a lot with his character in the future. I don't know. It's just my personal opinion. Of course, if you guys love his character and you can't wait to see how it goes, that's fine and that's great. That's all you need to say. You don't ever feel like you need to defend a character or why you like a character from me, because I don't need to do that either. If I dislike a character, I'm just gonna say why, and you guys can just say, I like this character, or I feel this way about the character. But in some instances, I just saw that some of the commenters felt the need to defend Tahomaru when I really didn't. I just gave my opinion on him, and I didn't ever make him out to be an evil character as some of you made it sound. I guess sometimes I get a little defensive myself, because when I read through these comments and people make it sound like I made him out to be this evil character and I was so mean about him, I feel like sometimes people read through those comments and they don't take the time to listen to me sharing my thoughts. They just see that you said I said this, and then I guess I just want to prevent that from happening in the future, because I don't want people to misinterpret what I said. I never meant that he was an evil character. I physically never said that, but I do stand by my words that he is a spoiled brat, and he does have a lot of growing up to do, and that's normal because he's 14 or 13, and he was raised by Daigo, and he was an only child. As an only child, I can tell you the chances that he's spoiled is pretty good. Like I said, my family's not rich, and I was spoiled because I was used to all the attention being on me. Now, imagine Tahomaru, when all the attention is on him, okay, excluding his mother and her emotional disconnection maybe, but everyone takes care of his every whim. He can get any clothes he wants, any toy he wants. If he throws a tantrum, he doesn't have to suck up and come back with his tail between his legs. His two companions go to him and tell him, "Come home, little master. We love you. And then, he was never spanked. He was never disciplined. I mean, I can't say all of this for sure, but I'm just saying that chances are that he's allowed to be. That's what he was raised like. I just wanted to point out that everyone defending him for being this amazing character and no flaws and he's such a good person, and like, you have to be realistic too. It's funny that is coming from me, because in the last episode I talked about me not being able to take criticism on Dororo, the anime as a whole. So now I'm telling you that, but you need to be able to understand criticism of a character. or not, the thing is, it's not criticism of a character. It's not like I think he's a bad character or anything. I think it's normal. A character is supposed to have many dimensions. Like that to me makes it better than just getting this perfect character that does everything right and that's why I'm so confused by this, because I never criticize this character. I just oh, this is what he's like, and I feel like it's good. We need, if all characters in an anime, if there were no morally gray characters, if all of them were just good and one common villain, like that wouldn't be the best anime. The best anime is usually when there are many characters and each one has its flaws, has their positives, whatever. That is what makes the most and the best anime. Where not only the characters have ups and downs, but the story has its, moral gray areas, and it has highs and lows, and that's part of what makes this anime beautiful for me. But I'm not trying to convince anyone that they should dislike Tahomaru or think of him the way I think of him. All I'm saying is that if you do reply in the comments, don't act like I'm the villain and I am not allowed to say that I don't like a character. And I never said he was evil, because now other people are reading the comments and they're like saying, or they are reading and thinking I say like poor little Tahomaru is evil. He's 14. He's not fucking evil. He has so much growing to do, so much life to live. So we're gonna see so much more development from them all, and I'm looking forward to that. A part of my brain is telling myself that I really shouldn't care so much about the comments. As a YouTuber, eventually, if the channel keeps growing, I won't be able to read through every comment, and if someone misinterprets what I say and say something in the comments and a lot of people agree with them, even though I never even said that, sometimes I'm not even gonna know about that. But at this point, it's still kind of hard to detach myself from the comments, because I do still have the time to go through most of the comments, and it's kind of hard to see people agreeing with someone when they totally misinterpreted what I said, and they definitely have the wrong idea, The other person, sometimes by your tone of voice, by the kinds of words you use, by the way your body is, people interpret things, and they can misinterpret you. And I guess I just felt like I wanted to defend what I said, and I'm sorry that this is such a rambly video, but I don't have that much to say on the story, because in the next episode we're going to see part 2, so that's only when I'll be able to really talk about what happened here. I'm a little worried about Dororo, because Dororo went across that space and is now in front of the guards that caught the other boy. Hyakimaru now met him with his father, and his father obviously wants to kill him. I think he said to his wife that he wants to finish things off, right? So that means that he wants to kill the baby that should have already been killed. The mother clearly believes that they're already being cursed. They're already paying for what they did, because what they did was wrong. And it's sad to me that she takes so much responsibility. It's almost like she sees herself as, and to some extent she is, I guess, she is a participator in what he did, even though he was the one, like she couldn't, take her baby back. She was weak from fucking childbirth. That shit is not easy. It's not like she could defy him, really. And a woman in that time can't defy her husband. So to some extent, she does, and I'm glad that she does. She takes responsibility for the role that she played. Even though she couldn't, I don't see how she could have defied Daigo, but she takes responsibility for her role she's been living, for all that time, she's been living from the blessings that was attained through what he did. So to some extent, she is guilty, even though we don't like to admit that. She takes responsibility for that. And I think that that's really amazing. And I really respect Hyakimaru's mother a lot for that. But I might be expressing myself in a bad way again, so I hope that you guys understand. But lastly, what I want to say is I'm really looking forward to, and I really hope that Hyakimaru gets to meet his mother I really hope that he gets to reconcile with his brother. But I don't know if I don't see this anime having a happy ending. And I just want, even though I think Daigo was wrong for what he did, he is a self-serving, arrogant, evil person. That's how I see him. He's not a demon, but he's an evil person. Even though I do see him that way, it's not like I don't think he can, like, I would still want him, if possible, to have a moment where he realizes what he did, where he realizes that how he went about attaining power and everything he did. I don't know if he can be saved in a conventional sense. You know how people atone for their sins and then they are saved and they live their lives free from. I don't know if he can be saved. I don't know. But if my father had done that to me and I had been somehow saved and then met him again, if something could happen and the father could realize what he did and what he's doing still for all these years, been relying and on the power of demons, that they don't, those kinds of things, they don't give without taking, and they I'm sure they didn't just take from Hyakimaru. You don't see it maybe because your eyes are blinded by, oh, we have more than enough to eat, we have beautiful houses, beautiful streets, we can put on plays and stuff. That's the same thing as, you know how there are rich people in the world and they're buying shavings of turnip, a special turnip. They're paying $100 for like a shaving of turnip on their food. They're paying $100 for that. They get 10 shavings, so that's $1,000. And then there are people suffering. They don't have enough to drink. They don't have clean water to wash themselves with. Why do you think there's such a big difference in rich and poor? Do you think maybe it's because there are people like Daigo who sell their souls to become rich, and that's why? Where do the demons give them the blessing? Yes, and you think, oh, Daigo did it for his people, now they're all blessed. But why are there people that, like, why did Dororo's mother have to go through what she had to go through? There's that difference. Maybe it's because of people like Daigo that sell their souls. So the world gets a little bit more soulless, and good people end up suffering because other people have too much. There is such a thing as having too much. I am not berating rich people. Being abundant and rich is a beautiful thing, and it's a natural thing, and it's something everyone should experience. We should all have enough, and even more than enough. We should have that. But there are people that have too much. Not just more than enough, too much. That it's crazy if you think about what some people have and how, and it's not, I'm not, like I said, not berating rich people that attain their and help other people. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of good happening because of rich people. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, don't you think that some of the heartbreak in this world, or at least let's talk about the anime specifically. Let's just talk about the anime. Don't you think that some of the struggle, that war, how many people suffer from that war? Don't you think it's because of people like Daigo that sold their souls? And there's some people that still say, oh, but Daigo did it for his people. Bullshit. The riches that he attained through working with the demons, and I'm sure that Daigo is one example. There's probably more stories. But because of people like that, that's why there's war. That's why, it looks like for this town, they're doing great. But why is there such a stark contrast between the rich and the poor? And I think it's because of people like Daigo that sell their souls, that are willing to sell the soul and the body of a child, an innocent child. There's people like that are willing to do that, and that's why the world is suffering like it's suffering here. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because it's, I don't know, I just feel like always like these reviews are a little bit messy because I get emotional about it, and when you get emotional, you don't talk as clear and concise as you could. If I, for example, I feel like a lot of my reviews would be so much better if I took, because I have notebooks and stuff, if I took some time, wrote down all my thoughts and then conveyed them more clearly, more logically. I feel like my reviews definitely wouldn't be as rambly, it wouldn't be as messy as they are sometimes, but it also wouldn't be as emotional, I guess, because then I would deal through that emotions and work through them logically, and then just convey the facts, you know, and like a little speech. So on one hand, I do realize that my reviews could be better, but on the other hand, I also like that they're honest and that they're sincere and that they're, you know, yeah, okay. So thank you for listening to me again. I'm so sorry that half of the episode, more than half the episode is just gone. I don't know how to get back that footage because it is corrupted because the electricity just went off and I wasn't able to save it properly. But I'll make sure that next week the same thing just can't happen, and then I'll do a proper review because it's part 2, and I think it's gonna have a really, I mean, he's meeting Daigo. Hyakimaru's meeting Daigo. I think it's gonna be an amazing episode next week. Thank you guys for being here, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.